brought to you by tribehub.app. Look in the description box and you'll be able to get yourself a tribehub.app. Tribehub.app represents Aboriginals at work. We have our own social media outside of Instagram, outside of Facebook. Shout out to the brother Be Busy for dropping this beat. So definitely check out the description box and take advantage of everything we got to offer. TribeHub.app, the app that pays. This is why you made me. This is why you made me. TribeHub what they paid me. Yeah, we about to get it in. TribeHub.app. Be busy in the building. Let's go. Peace, peace, peace. How's everybody doing? Hopefully the sound ain't getting weird. This is your boy Ty Data. We finna go all the way in today. We finna go in. Welcome to Aboriginal Science for Dummies. Why Native Americans are the only race that has two origin stories. We're going to be checking this out. And we're going to be getting pretty logical, technical, and even mathematical. And we're even going to be doing some little magic tricks along with some other things. Now, first off, let's start off by saying that many of the information that was gathered here was not due through a scientific test or a specific scientific journal or anything like that. Many of it was information that has been given out through our media. Media includes BBC, PBS, Walt Disney, Fox, Marvel, YouTube, and many other media platforms as well. Now, first thing you need to understand is that when it comes to the media, it is actually the most powerful form of information that you can get. Although many of these scholars and many of these teachers, they like to quote and sound like they're very smart with different types of scientific journals and different types of scientist experiments. But to be honest, media trumps all of them. We learn more in the media than we do in science. Matter of fact, the shoes you wear, you probably bought them because of the media. The car you drive, you probably like it because of the media. The haircut or the hairstyle that you wear, you probably like it because of the media. The media is very powerful. So although there is no scientific experiments going on in the background, there is no scientists in the background, so many of the information that's collected through the information you're about to receive is collected through the media, which is the most powerful force that we have, and it trumps science. Nobody out there eats the most scientific food that they can find. Nobody walk around with the most scientific hairstyle that they can find. Matter of fact, I don't even think we do anything scientific. Really, to the best scientific acknowledgement. Yeah, we should be drinking a certain amount of water. We should be consuming a certain amount of marijuana, a certain amount of alcohol. Very scientific things. We don't live our life on a scientific basis. So many of the people that's out here looking for a full-fledged scientific analysis or some scientific information understand when you live in a world where your media is more powerful than your science, it's going to reflect in your science and in your media. So this needs to be very understood before we go on, because the information I'm about to reveal to you, it's going to be some science involved, but it's going to be told by the scientists. But keep in mind, media trumps science. I can take a scientific study that's perfectly scientific sound, 100% proof, and in the media, I can say the complete opposite. And which one you think most people are going to believe? The average person is going to believe what's in the media, what's in Disney, what's in BBC, what's in PBS, what's in Fox News. What's Most people going to believe that this is how we're trained. This is how they train you guys in your culture to follow the media. So, as you can see, the Native American people are the only people on the planet that have two different origin stories or two different theories. Although there are multiple theories out there for humans and there's multiple theories out there for mankind, no other race or people have more than one theory. When it comes to the so-called African, it's certain theory for them. Now, that's populated through the media. Now, when it comes to the Caucasian, they have one theory. When it comes to the Australians and the Asians, they have one theory. But for some reason, when it comes to the Native Americans, they have two different theories and two different origins. And the sad part about it is that they're both on the opposite end of America. One theory that's really populated in the media is that they was at the top of America and they crawled down, not crawled, but they went across something called the Bering Strait. That would be the top. The second theory is that some Australians came over here in South America and then they somehow metamorphed into a modern day Native American. So there's two different theories on two opposite ends of the continents. Now we're gonna check out some of these theories. We're gonna be putting these theories to the test. So first thing I want to do, I want to introduce you to our subjects. Um, we have a young Mongolian boy. You can see him with the hat on, with like some type of red string at the top. He would represent an Asian. Then we have what we call a Native American, and then we're gonna go over there. We have a Australian Aborigine, and then we have more like a modern day Mexican or something like that. Something like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to break down the first theory because they got caught. Now we're going to break down the first theory. Now we're going to let them explain their theory. I'm not going to explain it. I'm going to let them do it in the media. I'm going to let their media explain their theory. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold over here to another screen, and this is a documentary. You can just look up First Americans Were Black, Aboriginals, or something like that. I think it's from BBC. Now we're going to listen to them explain their theory, the first theory. Now keep in mind, this is the theory where the laws have been made. This is the theory where the laws and the recognition has been made based on this theory. So these the Native American population has been deemed the first Americans based on this theory I'm about to reveal to you. But then, when they find something different, they move the theory around, and now it's another theory. So how is it that they are the only race of people with two different origin stories that's popular? I'm pretty sure every single body got a different origin story in their own little segment, in their own little, in their own little, in their own little way. But when it comes to media, this is one of the most popular stories, and we're gonna have them explain it to you. Let's check it out.
Indians, in fact, had been in America for thousands of years. Scientists today can tell precisely when they arrived and from where. All native peoples in South and North America belong to a racial type known as Mongoloid. They're descended from the ancient peoples of Siberia. During the Ice Age, 12,000 years ago, there was a land bridge between Siberia and Alaska. Mongoloid peoples were the first to enter the New World, or so experts thought. The Brazilian find.
Okay. As you can clearly see, that will be the most popular story. As you can clearly see, that would be the most popular story coming from out of the Native Americans. This would be the first story. Now, mind you, they said white people turned white during the Ice Age, but somehow these people got, they came up with different eyes, and their features are, a little bit different. But let's just say they came across the Bering Strait, and that's their story, and that's what they're sticking to. Now understand, there's laws put in place based on this story. So this story and this theory has also laws and government backup to go with it. So you're dealing with a couple different chambers here. Now, let's check out the second theory. That's the first theory. Okay, that's theory number 1. Now let's check out the second theory. This is theory number 2.
Point to a very different story of the discovery of the Americas. The paintings on these rock shelters are much older than the Indians. Here, hunters chase giant armadillos, an animal that flourished during the Ice Age long before the arrival of the Indians. There's a playful feel to many of the scenes. Here, a group of men are standing on each other's shoulders, just like a circus act. And here, a rare romantic moment. The scenes conjure up a lost world of innocence. How long ago was this primeval paradise? French are.
Now, as you can see, and as the story goes forward, is that this theory basically goes that some Australians came over here and and morphed or evolved into modern day Native Americans. So, which theory are they going to go by? They have two different theories. But let's go ahead and get into some more of this document, And so you can see the media explains what it's selling. Okay? Check it out.
The edges on one side of the stones were flaked off. Were these stones shaped into cutting tools by human hands? If so, then the history of the discovery of the Americas would have to be rewritten. People had been here before the American Indians. Surely there would be other traces of their presence. The archaeologists continued to dig, down to depths 50,000 years old. And then they found this. Fragments of animal bone and charcoal.
Somebody was cooking.
For Anne-Marie Passy, one of the archaeologists involved in the dig, these fragments were proof of human occupation.
On trouvait des structures de feu.
We found structures shaped like hearths.
Alors, à côté du charbon,
Next to the charcoal, depending on the period, we sometimes found food leftovers of animals they may have eaten.
D'animaux qui ont peut-être consommé.
The Brazilian finds show that the New World was discovered tens of thousands of years earlier than previously believed, certainly well before the time of the American Indians.
Certainly
But who
well.
were these pioneers? A much earlier wave of Mongoloids, or another race altogether? Clues to the identity of the first Americans are emerging in rock shelters in the northeast and southeast of Brazil. Archaeologists there have recently unearthed human remains.
Now, is y'all still with me? Now, can you see how they have two different origin stories? Two different origin stories. They are the only race and people with two glorified media covered origin stories. Now, I am sure between a grandpa and a grandparent, or a son and a daughter, or different types of communities, I'm pretty sure everybody has their own little origin story in their own little tribes. Hold on. We're gonna go back. I need to.
Sao Paulo University in Brazil. He's been using a standard and reliable archaeological measure, the shape of the skull, to find out what race she belonged to.
91.
He fully expected Luthia to be a Mongoloid, an ancestor of the American Indians.
91.
But then he fed the measurements into the computer.
When we start running the computer and seeing the results, it was amazing because we realized that the statistics, the quantitative analysis we were doing was not showing just people to be Mongoloid. In fact, the analysis was showing just people was anything except Mongoloid.
So who was Luthia? And where did she come from? To find out, the skull was taken to a hospital in Rio de Janeiro to begin the process of reconstructing her face.
Okay, as you can see, now they're forced to change their story now. Remember, the laws and the media glorification of the barricade Strait crossing is where the laws was made, and this is what identified them as the first Americans because of the Bering Strait crossing theory or the Bering Strait crossing information. Now understand, when you're dealing with a theory, when you're dealing with a actual theory, there is facts inside a theory. So anytime somebody say it's a theory, you know, sometimes it's culturally understood that there's facts involved with it. Most theories have some form of logic. There is some fact, and there is also some folktale and some guessing. They very rarely have actual math involved in them. So that's what kind of makes them a theory, because it's not mathematically proven. So once you take the math out, it's called a theory. And so, you have people in the community, they like to emphasize and say, oh, yeah, it's a theory and it has facts involved. But they're not understand that just calling it a theory is also culturally indicating that it does have some facts involved. But because they're struggling and they're trying to sell it so much, they have to, oh, it's a theory with hardcore facts in it. And bro, just say it's a theory, bro. It is understood that there are facts included. Now, because of this Bering Strait crossing, this was the most popular and most media spreaded theory of them all. This was all across the media. Now, the video you are watching, this is not very widespread. This is a BBC documentary, which I think is done in Britain or England or something like that. And so this is not a widespread theory. This is something amongst certain people and certain people in a certain scientific community, and history nerds like Chief Holiday and them. This is stuff that they're into. But far as the media, which is the cartoons and things like that, they really do not emphasize too much on this story that you're watching now. But as you can see, it changed. You see, they had a theory, the Bering Strait crossing. They made laws based on it. They recognized these people and they knighted these people in some kind of way, and they gave them reservations based on this theory. So now they found something different. So now these are two theories. These are two different theories. And so now we, as in Aborigine people, we attaches ourselves to these findings. Okay, to these old bones, we attach ourselves to them. Okay, we attach ourselves to them. Now, some people would say, well, that's a theory, that's speculation and things like that. But you have to be able to understand uh, pretty much what they're saying. So they're telling us these things look like us. But then on the back end, they're saying, well, they actually come from Australia, but and then they somehow transformed. An Australian came here to America and somehow evolved. So remember the word evolve. That means that you're not fit. That means you don't belong here. We don't want you here. So the only way you can stay here is if you can evolve. So that's what you gotta understand when they use the word evolve and their word evolution. Is basically saying the this part of the earth don't want you here. And so your body pretty much accept that, and then it just started changing itself because it doesn't feel loved by the environment pretty much. And so that's what they're trying to say these people did. Now, which theory is it? Because now that makes two different theories for one group of people. One group of people. Now we do know there's multiple theories for humankind. There's outer Africa theory that's for humankind, not one, you know what I'm saying, not just one race. That's how humans evolved. There's the multi-regional theory for humankind. But just for one single race alone, how is it that they get two theories? This is going to blow your mind. This is your boy Ty Data. This is brought to you by we're gonna go ahead and go in a little bit, but let me go ahead and get my stuff in. This is brought to you by TribeUp.app, the app that pays. Shout out to Be Busy for supplying the beat. We're about to go in, you guys. We're about to go in. Take notes. Here we go. Now, okay. So now we're gonna go in with this second theory. So now we're on theory number 2 for the Native Americans. Now this something that needs to be understood before we do some of this information, is because these people are known for being magicians. I know the Chinese also make very good magicians as well. Now I'm not too familiar with African magicians and different types of magicians, and I'm pretty sure they had it. They probably started, or different types of magicians. I'm pretty sure. But in my day, I do know that these people are known to be magicians. Now, so when you approach the information and all the information that they give you, especially in the media, we're not going with the scientific community, because the scientific community don't hold the power. Okay? The media holds the power. This is what holds the power. So when everybody's looking for a Pacific document by the perfect scientific archaeologists, scratch that. Because whatever the media says is what our kids gonna be saying. The little songs that they give us, the little nursery rhyme, 1 little, 2 little, 3 little, and then 4 little, that's gonna stick for generations and generations. From some weird ass anthropologist, probably a damn pervert, you know what I'm saying, somewhere, they're probably not gonna stick from generation to generation. And the culture knows this, and the media knows this. So even though in the scientific community the media plays no role, but understand, science bow down to media. Okay? Science bow down to media. So the information I'm giving you is information I get from the media, which is twice as powerful than your scientific journal, because media controls science. Science do not control media. That would be a good world to live in, by the way, where science is actually, actually uh, real, or I should say, actually implemented. So, now that they're forced to change their story, now they have to make. Now we're looking at magicians. Now you got to understand, they're magicians. I know like a lot of people might say conspiracy theories, so we just gonna take a magician. We know throughout history that these people are known for magic tricks, okay, being magicians. So you being a high level educated person, when it comes to a magic trick, trying to reveal a magic trick, we're on equal playing field. Now, where your education come in at, and uh, where your expertise come in at, it come in speed, details, able to articulate, and also, I mean, the ability to articulate, and that's about it. That's the only thing you have when you have very high credentials. You have the ability to process the information because you're familiar with it at a higher speed. You're able to articulate yourself. You're able to articulate yourself in a better manner, and you also let me see. And third, you're kind of get into something. Third, you're also able to get, take intake the information and process it a lot faster. But when it comes to sniffing out bullshit, your high credentials don't mean shit. we're on the equal playing field. If we both watch the magic trick, you know, your chances of guessing it is just as good as mine or how they did it. For example, if you ever did a magic trick with a quarter to a young person, maybe around 3 or 4, they tend to actually believe that you know, made the quarter disappear when all you did is either put it in your ear, put it in your pocket, or maybe even put it in your mouth. Now, if you try that same magic trick on a 17-year-old, it's not because the 17-year-old is an expert. It's because the 17-year-olds understand and can sniff out bullshit at a different level. So sniffing out bullshit does not require schooling or anything like that. So you can take a 17-year-old, you do the quarter trick, they're gonna say, bro, this it's in your pocket, man. They're gonna say, it's in your mouth. They might be wrong when guessing, but they know it's somewhere by you. They know that. Now, when you're dealing with academia and some of the people in academia understand you do have a slightly advantage because you done seen that magic trick many times. So you done seen that magic trick many times. And also you're able to articulate a lot better. And also you're able to understand you're able to understand a little more. But when it comes to sniffing out bullshit, we're on an equal playing field, you guys. So anybody that think that because they have a high degree or they wrote a book, when it comes to sniffing out bullshit, you're no different than the guy on the bus. You guys got an equal chance to sniff that shit out. And so now we understand that we're working with magicians. So now we approach the information cautiously. Now, knowing that these people are the only race of people that have two worldwide spread, um, uh, at least one widespread origins. Now, secretly in the YouTube community and some scientific communities, there's another origins. So now these will make these people the only race on the planet that have two different origin stories, and they both conflict each other. Now, I don't need to go to school for 12 years to understand I smell bullshit. I don't need to go to school for 15 years to understand that something's not right. The same as a 3-year-old to a 17-year-old. The 17-year-old might not know exactly where the quarter's at, but they know the quarter did not go to another dimension or some shit and just like vanish or some shit. So just like a 17-year-old, you doing a magic trick, I know there's some bullshit involved. Now, those of you if you are a Native American person, you are considered to be your brother. So understand that if you can look at this information in the way, in the way of a magician revealing it to you, you will be able to understand where a lot of us come from because we know we're dealing with the magician. And so when the magician talks and when the magician reveals, you have to understand and you have to be able to see the magic trick. You don't need a super high degree or anything like that. Because the super high degree ain't going to do nothing but make you see the same thing I saw. And you're just going to articulate it. Or you're just going to articulate it. And some of the stuff might be a little more familiar to you. But we on the same playing field. Now here we go. So these are the bones that they found. Now these bones that they found, okay, that the magicians have found, and they're going to do a sculpture on these bones, and they don't know how to sell it yet because they're trying to be honest and they're trying to reveal it as is, but it has to be sold in the media as well. So let's check it out. Just get some more out. Because these are our ancestors. These are our ancestors. These are our people that they're digging up and that they're working on. Now, all the slave talk and all the 1966 talk and the laws and the lawyers and all that shit is individual claims. Chief Holiday claims some, Dan Calloway claims some. Those are all individuals' claims. We're not making no claims here about whether they was actually Hebrews or whether they was Moors or all this other shit. It doesn't matter. What matters is that these are our people. These people are related to you. Okay? And this is the bottom line, is what we're saying. But people want to catch you up and slip you up in a media war because they say, well, if you lied about a cup of coffee, then you probably lied about everything else. So their goal is to catch you in some weird little thing, so they can say, well, if you messed up right there, then chances are your whole argument is messed up. But we are attached to bones. Okay? Not too many races can do that. There's not too many races can do that. Matter of fact, only Aboriginal people can do that. We're going to break some of that down a little bit later, but let's go ahead and reveal the skulls that they found. Let's check it out.
That to me is a Negroid face that has all the features you associate with a Negroid face. The proportions of the face, it doesn't say anything about it being a Mongoloid.
Luthia belongs to a race found historically along the rim of the Indian Ocean, in East Africa, in the islands of South Asia, and in Australia and Melanesia.
Okay, now understand what. Now I need you to understand that what they just said. They said her race or people is found in certain places. This is what you call a magic trick. You see, a magic trick. But let's just keep going with it. But understand what they're saying now. They're changing the theory. Now, what he just said, there was a theory that they belong there. He didn't mention that. Now, if he would just say, well, scientists believe. If he was to just say, according to such and such, there's evidence to support. If he would have said something like that, then we would have been like, okay, we look at it, we give it a little doubt. But the way he said it is for no doubt. Remember, we're dealing with media here, the most powerful form. Okay, so he said they belong to, as if don't guess it, don't question me. Don't question me. I said they belong here. They belong here. Now, if there's scientific evidence or some 100% evidence that they belong there, then he should reveal, okay, where there are 100% evidence that. And so this is why you have to understand that you're dealing with magicians. So now they just literally told you without even one shadow of a doubt, you better not doubt them because they raised you. So you don't doubt them. Especially if you're academic, you bet not doubt them. They taught you. Now, so he told you where they came from. There was no science involved. He could have clearly said, well, according to archaeologists such and such and such and such, they found evidence that supports that they belong here, here, and here. According to modern day science, their skull type, their what's the name type, is usually found in these locations. Now, what this did is that would have allowed you to have room to speculate. You see, they would have gave you, if he would have been a little more honest with that decision, it would have allowed you to and give you room to speculate. Like, yeah, it makes sense, and it might be true, but no, 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 no. When you're dealing with magicians, okay, they need you to 100% believe. So he said, this is where they come from, and I mean, that might be where they come from, but let's keep it real, bro. If you're gonna be a scientist, let's be scientists.
Was this then the face of a first American?
Now, notice he gives speculation. Was this, instead of saying, "Damn, this is it"? Now he gives speculation. So now you, as the intaker of the information, now you have room for doubt. You see how magicians work, you guys? You see how magicians work? You see how they just play that? I know many of you might not understand it, but those of you who are on my vibrational level, you already know what I do. Okay? But just understand, was this the face of the first American? So there's that doubt I was talking about that should have been in the sentence before this. It wasn't there. So now you, as a viewer, you say, there's a chance it could be. Not it is. Check it out. More magic tricks. Understand, you're looking at a magician. Okay? Check it out.
Her reconstruction is confirmed by measurements Walter Nevis has taken of all his skulls.
The first reaction was not to believe in it. But as the results, repeated so many times, and the result is exactly the same thing. They are very similar to nowadays Aborigines and Africans, and no similarity at all with Mongoloids in Asia or with American Indians.
So, what that does is, according to craniology, so what that does is that makes them a different theory. So now, what is the job of the magician? The job of the magician is to make sure that the outcome is still the same. Okay, so understand. We already we looking at a magician, and we already looking at him a side eye, and now he just sold us a story. Now he just said, okay, first they said, well, they came across the Bering Strait, and then you know what, we're gonna recognize them, we're gonna give them land, we're gonna give them this, and we're gonna give them that. You know what I'm saying? These are the first Americans, they come across the Bering Strait. And then they say, oh, some type of African or some type of Australian or some type of other creature was found deep, deep down in the ground like 50 something goddamn thousand years ago. And now my story is it fell apart. Their Bering Strait story just fell the fuck apart. So it is erased. The Bering Strait story is done. It's a wrap. Okay? It's a wrap, bro. This skull right here put that shit to bed. Now, all you academics and all you people that went to school for all these years, listen. Listen. When you make laws based on a theory, okay? You make laws based on a theory. When you find something different, what are you going to do? For the very, very smart people, what are you going to do? You made laws based on a theory. And now you found something that shreds through your theory. What are you going to do? Are you going to hide it? Are you going to reveal it and say, "Oh shit, man, all these fucking laws, I done gave these people millions of dollars in casinos and shit, and y'all ain't even the people? This ain't even y'all, bro." And this is what this at this time, this is what's going on. But wait, it's going to get a lot better. So now this knocks off the first theory. So now let's come up with another theory.
But how could Luthia be African and Australian? According to Walter Nevis, there's a very simple explanation. Luthia is a bit of both. The first humans originated in Africa. It's known that around 100,000 years ago, waves of people migrated out of Africa. One such wave went east, and 60,000 years ago, it reached Australia.
Now, this is where you have to understand where the magician's at work. If everyone started in Africa, that makes everyone African. There would be no such thing as an Australian unless he would be called a African Australian. A African Australian. So if Africa's everybody's home, then everybody would be African. So why are they not calling this African a African, and why are they calling him a Australian based on where he comes from? This right here is the question of all questions. Now, maybe they might answer it, and let's check it out.
Luthia, it seems, belonged to a race of humans descended from Africans, a race that eventually became today's Australian Aborigines.
Okay, now that's what I want you. That's my point right there. Now, this is what I want you guys to understand. I want you guys to look at this. Okay? So now they have two theories, one at the top in North America and one at the bottom in Brazil and South America. So they have two different theories. One theory is modern, or where one theory goes back, maybe a couple thousand years, and one theory goes back thousands of years. So these is two different theories now. Now, so one has to wonder, why is the Native American people are the only race of people with two different theories? Now you begin to wonder, because let's give them the Bering Strait. Let's give it to them. Yeah, you cross the Bering Strait. It's real. The Earth frozen and you cross the Bering Strait. We'll give it to you. But now we have to wonder, who the fuck is Luzia and Naya? Who are them then? If they're not you, and you for sure came across the Bering Strait, who is Nia, Naya, and Luzia? Who are them? Oh, they're Australians, right? Now, the way the media works and the way the magicians works is he told you who they were. He did say according to. I heard that he said according to, and he mentioned the magician's name. He said, yeah, according to such and such, they're Australian. So technically we don't really know that, but let's go along with the popular theory, or the media theory, and just let's say that they are Australian. Now when you look at the guy from Mongolia, and you look at the so-called Native American, you notice they're almost identical. There's almost twins. Now, when you look at the Australian and you look at George Lopez, George Lopez is but they're probably about the same age. So George Lopez got a little squishy face, just like the Australian face got a little squishy face. So there is some similarity there. You see that? There is a little similarity there. I give him that. Because George Lopez, an older guy now, he's got a little squishy face. And it's about the same age as the dude in the picture. So you can give him that. But now, let's check out George Lopez's so-called DNA. Because remember. But I didn't get to the part when they tried to say these people morphed. I'm just gonna assume that everybody know that what they're gonna say. The magician is gonna say, well, these fucking Australians, they came over here and they morphed, or they evolved into Native Americans. So now you got two different stories of Native Americans. You got one about the Barons crossing at the top, and now you got one with some Australians from the bottom. So now let's check out George Lopez so-called DNA, you guys. Let's check this out. And this is according to ethniccelebrity.com, George Lopez. I'm going to put the link in the chat. Understand we're dealing with media. We're not dealing with science today. We're dealing with media right now because understand media is more powerful than science. Media controls science. So let's check this out and let's see. Now, when you look at his so-called ancestry DNA, you see 55% European, you see 32% Native American, 9% East Asian, and 4% Sub-Saharan African. Now, you notice something a little weird there. Something's missing. That Australoid DNA is missing. That Australian DNA is missing. But wait. But the magicians have another trick for you. They're going to take the Native American, they're going to slice it down, and they're going to do all this extra shit to try to make sure that there's some Australian in there. But you got caught, okay? You can slice down European, you can slice down Native American, you can slice down Asian, and you can slice down Sub-Saharan African as much as you want. But there is no Australian in there. So, are the Native American people from Australia, or are they from Russia, or like now they have two different places where they're from. Now this is even getting even weirder, and this wasn't even part of the show. This is getting even weirder. So now they're saying well they Australian, they come from modern day, somehow the Australian came over here and just flipped fucking wig and shit and turned into one of them. But there's no Australian DNA. Oh, they have a certain percent, miss me with their magic tricks, bro. I understand how magic works. I understand how the media works. And I definitely understand how numbers work. And I can get pretty scientific when I want to turn it on. I wouldn't call myself a scientist, but I can turn it on when I want to. So even though he might have a little squishy face, he's a little older now, kind of like the older gentleman over there in Australia, and they do have some little features and little you can argue, you know what I'm saying? Somebody want to argue. We both know they ain't got shit to do with each other. We both know those are two different types of people. So how is it that the Native American can be Asian and Australia? Now keep in mind, Asian and Australians are supposed to be at the opposite ends of that continent or those continents over there. So Asia would be kind of, Russia, that area as well. Whatever you want to call it will be more at the top, and Australia will be more at the bottom. So are you telling me that these people, the Asians and the Australians, got together and made Native Americans? Now, if you would have sold that story in the beginning, when you started making your laws, and when you start knighting these people, these reservations, and start knighting these people, if you would have made that story in the beginning, that would have made some decent sense if you would have started with that story. But the first story you started with was the Bering Strait, and you were sure you had it. And then you flipped it over and said, no, they come from Australians, but Australians come from African, so that will make Australians actually Africans. Is right? That will make them actually African Australians. But they had to make sure, the magician had to make sure they separate them towards land masses and other different things. They got different types of craniology and certain different things as well. But now when we dealing with DNA, why the Native Americans don't have Australian DNA? Why they don't have 9% Australian, 32% Australian? So what is actually Native American DNA? How does a non-original person have a set of DNA? How does a mixed breed of people have a set of DNA? That's the equivalent of saying I had a son with a white lady and the baby's mixed, and so we're gonna call that mixed DNA. You see? But I know how it works a little bit. They look for certain type of little genetic markers, but you have to understand they look for. The word look for means I know it's there. I just have to find it. This is where you have to get real scientific when you're dealing with, especially the people in the academic world, because they think they know everything and they use these magician type words, but they don't really know. You're talking to a cyborg. You can't tell me. You can't sell me no shit like that. And if you did, you'll get away with it for a little bit. I'll catch you. So they say, well, they're looking for gene markers. So you mean to tell me they're looking for these markers? But that's not really how science works. Science don't work where you're looking for shit. Okay? Science, you go in and you mark down and you categorize, and what you find, what you find. Okay? Now this is where software comes in, and I've been telling everybody about this goddamn software. Software is designed to look for stuff. Software just don't go in there and just identify and just find shit. This is why anytime they bring up DNA, you have to literally say what software they're using. Oh yeah, they the DNA is okay. What software are they using? And I can simply tell you where you're full of shit and where the magic tricks at. So when they say Native American DNA, it is something they made up because they was looking for something and they found it, they categorized it, and they said, okay, this is called Native American DNA. You see? Now, so they knew it was there. They just had to go find it. That's not science. That's not how science works, brothers and sisters. Science does not work that way. Science is blind. You put on your blindfolds and you go in there and you find things. But if you know it's there, if you know it's there already, where's the science at? You see what I'm saying? If I know there's already oil in the ground, if I know it's there and I dig for it, there's no science in it. I know where it's at. Now, if I, you know, if I measured, you know, let's say I measured the dirt and I took, different samples and I came up with some type of adhesive that's on the dirt, and then I took the dirt and I stick my finger in and I tasted it some shit and I get a certain sense and I'm like, you know what? According to my analysis, that should be oil under here. And then I dig under there and there's oil under there. That's how science works. But we're not going to make this a science different thing because we're in the media, you guys. We're in the media. So we're going to leave the science stuff alone. But I just had to put some of that out there because I know it's a bunch of people that will try to take 32% Native American DNA and say, oh, Australia is included. And they will come up with some magic trick or some magician ass trick and I will shut that shit down. I just want to let them know that, yeah, I understand you know magic. And I understand that you know a lot more. But understand whatever you know, whatever magic trick you got, I have a motherfucking some debunking software for every magic trick you got. Now, so this is how this works. And we're going to use some alphabets. And I'm going to show you when it comes to Aboriginal people. Because we are attached to the oldest thing ever walked this planet. The oldest human ever walked this planet looks like me. And I'm attaching myself to that. And I am that. And that is me. Far as the slave trade, far as who the fuck is a Moor, who the fuck is a Jew, and who the fuck is this, bro? Man, I'll be honest with you, I am sick of that shit. Let's just get to the motherfucking nitty gritty. Let's just get to the goddamn point, and let's cut all the Jew shit out. Let's cut all the Moor shit out, and let's just get to the motherfucking point so we can pack a fucking punch. Okay? Now, so here we go. This is a chart right here. You see the letter A and the letter Z. The letter A represent Aboriginal. The letter Z represent whatever you can come up with. Now, inside a Aboriginal and an authentic person, there might be some mixture here and there. So it's already included in your Aboriginal title. Now, many people would like to take these tit for tat and inchy winchy little mixes here and there, white lady there, Frenchman here. They would like to take that and they would like to emphasize on that to equal you, to make you equal to them, because many other races are totally mixed up. They're like totally some type of mixed up, just all mixed up. Two different types of people just mixed up. You see, George Lopez got what, like 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what I'm saying? He got like damn near 55%. He a 55% European, bro. That's European, bro. You 55%. You see what I'm saying? That's a European. 32% Native American. What the fuck is packed in there, bro? What the fuck is in the Native American magic tree? You know what I'm saying? And then 9% East Asian. How the fuck? Where the fuck? You know what I'm saying? And then 4% Sub-Saharan African. How the fuck does that work? You know what I'm saying? But anyway, as you can see, there's a very, very massive amount of mixing in there. Now, when you are Aboriginal person, okay, the name Aboriginal is allowing some form of mixture in there. So you can be an Aboriginal person and have some forms of mixture. It's included, but don't let them take your mixture and equal it to theirs, because they're half of. How the fuck you gonna be like 55% European, bro? That's 5% more than half, and then you got some other shit. Like no. Don't let them take their mutations and equate it with your mutation. Now we all have different forms of mutation, but there's different levels. You have like a brush mutation. Oh, whoa. Let me change that word. Not a mutation. Okay, it's not a real mutation. Not a real mutation. I basically mean mixture. Okay, a mixture. Let me clear that up. Not no goddamn mutation. My body is equipped for anywhere on this planet, even in the ocean. I can survive anywhere. I can survive anywhere you put me. I will figure out a way to survive. I will make a battery. I will build a house. I will build a submarine. I will go fishing. I would, you know what I'm saying? I would, I can, my brain is so powerful that some of the things I can do, uh, it could probably kill you if you even thought some of the shit that goes on. But anyway, so as an Aboriginal person, you are allowed to have some mixture. Now, as you see in the movie, they said that these people were mixed. They was African, and some kind of way they went to Australia. But how is it possible that the Australians mixed with the Africans when the Africans is the Australian? Magic trick, magic trick. Slow it down, slow it down. Now, according to this theory, the Africans went to Australia. So how is it that the Australian can mix with the African if the African is the Australian? So you mean to tell me the African went to Australia and then came out another person and then mixed with an African? So then that would make that person 100% African. If you half and half, you will be damn near 80% African. So anywhere go, you still will be an African. So let's just take the story as is, okay? An African woke up one day and decided to walk or whatever and just migrate, slowly, generation after generation after generation, and they somehow went to Australia. They kicked it there in Australia in some kind of way. They was eating berries and shit, and they DNA fucking changed, and they fucking eyebrows and they fucking hair changed, and all they fucking shit changed. And then they decided to meet up with some more Africans, some regular Africans that didn't go through the change, and they met back up with them, and they had some children, and these children came over here to America. So now this American slash this African slash Australian came over here and was like Naya Olizia. Now let's let's check this out for a second. So you have a African that was in Australia that changed, and then they went back and met an African. Now, oh, this is crazy. So you was the first. So your ancestors were African. Then you became some. You morphed into some. You morphed into some other shit, and then that other shit that you morphed into made it with another African. The only conclusion I can come up with is that you are a motherfucking African. Then, am I wrong or am I right? That would be called an African. So your ancestors were African, and then some kind of way the people just fucked you. You know what I'm saying? The people just went all over the place, and now so that would make you an African. So by their own definition of these Africans going to Australia and metamorphosing and meeting up back with some Africans and coming over here to America, that will mean these will be African people that came over here to America. I'm gonna have to rewind that again because I think people might not understand what I'm saying. So I'm gonna rewind that a little bit so you can follow me, bro. Follow me, bro. I need you with me. I need you with me. Check it out.
Ocean,
Check it out.
in East Africa, in the islands of South Asia, and in Australia and Melanesia. Was this then the face of a first American? Her reconstruction is confirmed by measurements Walter Nevis has taken of all his skulls.
The first reaction was not to believe in it. But as the results, repeated so many times, and the result is exact.
Well, now you can check out the interview, and the media chose to play that part. Now there was probably an hour long or 2 hour long interview of that gentleman. But when it got to done editing, they made sure they played that part when he said, "Well, I wasn't believing in it. This is another magic trick. It's a media trick. It's a magic trick." So basically, they're setting it up for a little more suspense, and what I'm saying, they got the music playing, so it's supposed to be very suspenseful, like, you know, first he wasn't to believe it. You see what I'm saying? But at the same time they're displaying arrogance as if no, we don't, as if these people cannot be here, these people, it can't be. So it's a lot of little magic trick going on in just that one little part right there, but it's going to be very difficult to break all the magic tricks down for you, but trust me, I do this.
Exactly the same thing. They are very similar to nowadays Aborigines and Africans, and no similarity at all with Mongoloids in Asia or with American Indians.
Now, like I say, they put that part right there. But I'm pretty sure the music is finna start playing, and they're finna get very suspenseful, and then they're gonna come out with some other shit. Watch. The music.
But how could Luthia be African and Australian?
Now, how can you be African and Australian? You can't be. Okay? If according to this theory. Now, I can't say you can't be, but according to this theory. Now, check out the theory.
According to Walter Nevis, there's a very simple explanation.
Now, check out his explanation. Check out the magic trick.
Luthia is a bit of both. The first humans originated in Africa.
Okay, now the first humans originated in Africa, so they would mean they're African. And then
it's known that around 100,000 years ago, waves of people migrated out of Africa. One such wave went east, and 60,000 years ago, it reached Australia.
Okay, so now an African went to Australia. Now check this out, an African went to Australia, and then okay, and then it came up with these people. So that would make them, technically that would make them African. They might be a different species of African. You can say, okay, they African, they're African Australoid, they're African, Australian, they're African. But why does that title leave them? Why does the African title leave them if that's where they're from? Magic trick.
Luthia, it seems, belonged to a race of humans descended from Africans, a race that eventually became today's Australian Aborigines.
Okay, so he did omit a race of Africans. So he did correct that part. I give him that. But he let us sit there and listen to a little music and shit before he gonna try to come in with some real shit.
But if the first people to enter the New World were the ancestors of present-day Aborigines, how could they possibly have reached the Americas?
Okay, now they got the story set. Okay, they figured they done made this person Australian, and because they have a narrative they need to paint. Remember, they're magicians, and we're dealing with the media. Now, what we're saying is that, okay, these are our descendants. These people are us. What they're saying and what they're coming up with is that no, there's no way it can be you. You came from a bottom of a boat. You know your past. You know your history. These people come from Australia, which actually come from Africa. So they're basically African Australian people. Keep it going.
Australia and Southeast Asia are on the other side of the Pacific Ocean, more than 8,000 miles away from South America. It's true that during the Ice Age, there was a land bridge between Siberia and Alaska. In theory, the ancestors of the Aborigines could have migrated north and crossed over into Alaska.
Now you see how they blended them together. Now you see how they blended the story together. Remember, they have two different origin stories, and now they just fused them together. So first origin story, okay, where they crossed the land bridge from Asia. These are Asian people. It's in their DNA. Second, oh, they was Australians. They was Australians that came up here, and somehow they metamorphed. So if they was Australians and they went back to Africa, wouldn't that make them Africans again? Check this out. Check this shit out. Check this shit out. Check this magic trick out. Y'all gotta understand the
But if
magic
the first
tricks,
people
bro.
to enter the New World were the ancestors of present-day Aborigines, how could they possibly have reached the Americas?
Now watch this.
Australia and Southeast Asia are on the other side of the Pacific Ocean, more than 8,000 miles away from South America.
And there go Australia.
It's true that during the Ice Age, there was a land bridge between Siberia and Alaska. In theory,
Now, as you can see, they went from Australia and they went all the way over here to Asia. Okay, so as you can see, the theory is going back into itself. So now they're saying Australian people came over here and crossed the Bering Strait and went all the way down to Brazil. Then that means you should have Australian people all up and down. You should have Australian people all up and down the all up and down over there in Europe and all up and down the Bering Strait.
the ancestors of the Aborigines could have migrated north and crossed over into Alaska. But they wouldn't have made it very far. A permanent mass of ice sat on Canada for thousands of years. That wall of ice would have blocked the way into America to both animals and humans. But could there have been another route to South America?
See, now you see the magic trick. The plan is to get these Australians into America, into Brazil. So let's find out how they're gonna do this. This is very interesting. How are they gonna make this work? You see, because they got two different theories now, and they even cut one theory off in the movie. So one theory don't even work. The second one don't even work. But they took us all that route and shit just to dead us in and shit. But it's all good. But as you can see, now they have to change up the story. Check it out.
Il faut considérer toutes les probabilités.
One has to consider all the probabilities.
Traverser.
It's much simpler to cross the ocean than to adapt to the cold.
Now they're saying, okay, these people during the ice age. Remember this, during their ice age. These people crossed the ocean now. They crossed over now. So they already made up their mind who these people are. See, I gotta get somebody a whooping. Hold on. Get out. They already made up their mind who these people are. And so they're going to make sure, as a magician should, and as a magician will, they're going to make sure that at the end of this video, they're going to make sure that these people are Native Americans. Now, as you can see, the magician at work. Now, you can check out the video. I'm not going to go too much into it, but you can check out the video and you can see their magic tricks. And their job is to make these Australian Aboriginals, is to make them Native Americans. But how is it Native Americans, Asians, and Australians at the same time? Did they go all the way up to Asia and then turn back around with all the way to Australia and then decide to decide to take a boat? How was these Asians coming back? How's these Asians coming back? 30, 40, 50%. I mean, how's these people coming back 30, 40, 50% Asian? As you can see, George Lopez is 9% Asian. So how's they getting all this Asian up in there if they didn't come from Asia, if they have no preservation of Asia? How did they get that? So now that conflicts the theory even more, because now they're changing and saying, you know what, these Australian people came across and these was modern day. These is where you get your Native American population from. But then when you do the so-called DNA shit, that so-called DNA that they push out and they come back Asian, where did that come from? Where did that come from? So how do shouldn't you be more sub-Saharan African than, shouldn't you be more Australian than fucking Asian? Now you got another number problem right there. You see, now you got another problem. Because if that's true, you shouldn't have any Asian in there. How the fuck did an Australian get Asian in there? Asians wasn't even born, bro. Like, magic trick, magic trick, magic trick. Let me go ahead and get into the presentation so I can get out of here. But you guys need to understand that you're dealing with magicians. I know some people call them devils, and some people call them this, some people call them that. It will probably be better to approach the situation as if you're dealing with a magician. Okay? It will help you to understand their goals, and it will help you to understand what you're up against. Now, if you call them anything other than magicians, it might put you in a different mood. It might put you in a different mode. But as we do, and as I do, and as even some of the ancient Buddhists do, they call them magicians. Okay? Magicians, men of magic. Okay? And so it is best to approach in the future what you're going through and some of the information we're going to be revealing. It is best to approach it as if you're trying to debunk a magic trick. Instead of trying to debunk, the lies, the cover-ups, the theories, the scientific, knockoff, and the media persuasion. That sounds like a conspiracy theory. But if you're dealing with a magician and you know what trick and you've seen the trick, what the magician did, the magician just fucking told us that they came across the Bering Strait. Now the magician's job is to make us think different. Now the magician's job is to make us think some motherfucking some some African some African uh Australians came over here and they just fucking turned into a fucking butterfly and shit. Just like a fucking like a goddamn butterfly. These motherfuckers just shredded they goddamn skin and just shredded they goddamn shit. And some kind of way, fucking Asians got in the mix that's undetected, and we don't even hear that part yet. At least sell it to us for real. You know what I'm saying? At least say it, okay, or some Asians came over here, or they picked up some Asians along the way or some shit. At least try a little harder. These motherfuckers ain't even trying. Well, but they got some people with the media. The media don't have to try. The media raised you, so they know what they doing. But they didn't raise me. I don't give a fuck about all that. But anyway, so here you have the letter A representing the Aboriginal. Now, within the Aboriginal, there can be certain subtle mixtures. Now, many of the academics and many of the races would like to take your subtle mixtures and they would like to emphasize on them to make you equal to them. But a mixture here and there does not equate for a whole race of people that's changing from one race to another race to another race to another race. That is not equal to some subtle mixture. Now, as you can see, that we are the letter A. Now, included in the letter A, there are some subtle mixtures involved in that, which means you might get a hint of British or something like that, but we're not evolving to a whole nother fucking race. We just have some subtle mixtures. Now, now, um, this brings you to the Asian. Now, as you can see, you have the Asian. The Australia represent the A. The Australian represent the A. Now, the Asian represent the MA. I mean the AM, which is ancient mixture, which means they are ancient mixture, which means they mix they're a mixed race of people. So they are a step away from Aboriginal. You can't be Aboriginal and have a high level of mixture. You can either be one or the other. And inside Aboriginal, there could be some mouse, some tit for tat, but not that's gonna change you from a goddamn monkey to a goddamn Michael Jordan and shit. You know what I'm saying? You can't have it both ways. So that will represent AM, the Asian, which is an ancient mixture. And ancient mixture took place somewhere between 5 and 10,000 years ago. Now, the reason why I came up with 5 to 10,000 years ago, now that is a guesstimation that I came up with to fit my narrative. Now, the reason why I came up with that because it's actually not the point whether it was 5 or 10 years ago, but I just thought I wanted to look cool and look smart, so I thought I put in some little numbers up in there. So I'm going to say around 5 to 10 years ago, this mixture, you know, um, this mixture, I guess, was normal or started or came about. Now there is no scientific document. There's no scientific evidence. This is a guess based on my narrative because I wanted to fit my narrative, and also this is a guess. Now keep in mind, nobody on the planet was there, so all we have is guesses. So even if you have a hardcore anthropologist and he has a scientific guess and he has some information, he's still guessing. It's still a guess. So whether it's a guy trying to fit a narrative to trying to look cool on the internet, or whether it's an anthropologist that did some scientific research, we're both guessing. So you have to understand that. Now the numbers is not important. What's important is actually categorizing the Asian as an ancient mixture. The reason why it's ancient because it basically means that It happened so long ago. Nobody really know how it happened, where it happened, and why it happened. All we know is that it happened. So that would be a ancient mixture. Now they would be one step farther from an aboriginal. So you can't be an aboriginal and have a high level of mixture that defeats that basically takes away your aboriginal. Now, now another reason. Now let's just say we have some actual scientists up here. This is to make me look cool and make me look smart. If we have some actual scientific studies, and the scientific studies fall in between my guesstimation, that will make me look very sophisticated and very smart. Now, if the scientist did a study and there's a little off my guesstimation, maybe 100 years, 200 years, then that still makes me look a little bit smart, doesn't it? Makes me look cool and makes me look smart. But if the actual modern day scientists did the research and they came up way off of my little guesstimation, well then I get to play the card that I was guessing. I'm a human. There was a margin of error, and I still get to look cool either way it goes. So now, now you have your Asian population, which is a ancient mixture. Okay, there will be a further away from the Aboriginal. Now, then you have your M, your 2M that will represent another mixture. Okay, that will represent another mixture. Now, what exactly these people mixing with, nobody really knows, and how that really played out. But all we do know is that the Asian and the Native American, there are some differences there. So we don't really know 100% how they got there. I don't want to break down the DNA software because that's going to get real bad and it's going to get real nerdy. If I get to breaking down the different things on a different software and a different chromosome, and it's 300 million chromosomes and all they using is like 30 of them and shit. It's gonna get real nerdy and it's gonna be all over the place. And so the modern day Native American represent the 2M. As you can see, he's further away from the Asian, and the Asian is still away from the Aboriginal. So what they're trying to do, they're trying to take a class M2 and they're trying to pass them off as Aboriginal. Now these Native Americans have different types of mixtures. As you can see, George Lopez have 4 different things. Like this motherfucker is a walking kumbaya. This motherfucker is supposedly a walking we are the world statement according to this DNA software that they invented to look for certain things that they know was there. You see what I'm saying? If you understand what I mean. So that right there will be a 2M. Now, then you have, and that mixture took place around 4 to 8,000 years ago. Now, keep in mind that the numbers are just there to make me look cool. The numbers doesn't mean anything, but it is supposed to help you think because according to popular media, with the peg bunny statue on fucking TV and shit, they really put a peg bunny statue on TV. And the media, we get to use our media as well. Now, this mixture, according to me, I just made this shit up to look cool. It's around 4 to 8,000 years ago. 4 to 8,000 years ago that these people started, or it was, complete, or whatever you want to do. It was in the beginning, it was in the middle, or it stopped. However you want to figure out, it was in between 4 to 8 years ago, 1,000 years ago. Okay. Now, you have what we call the M3. That will be George Lopez. George Lopez represent a more modern day mixture. Okay, so he will be a 3M. So he will be furthest away from the actual Aboriginal because he had to endure three different types of mixtures um within amount of last night to 10,000 years ago. Okay? And 10,000 years ago is actually pretty generous. If you want to get honest, 10,000 years is actually generous. But we can play with it. We can play with it. So you got 3M that will be the more modern day Native Americans. Okay? That would be the Mexicans and our brothers and sisters down there. Now, keep in mind, they're still our brothers and sisters because they're state, they still hold, what I'm saying, they holding down the land and they are a mixture. You see what I'm saying? And it's very difficult for them being mixture, that, some people don't really know where they fit in at. Some of them you put in the hood, they fit right the fuck in. They fit better than you. Some of them, they be like, ew, I want to go back. You know what I'm saying? But case it may be, these are all still, you know, well, to me, not to me. Not I know some of y'all is racist as hell, but that's on your own shit, on your own channel. You know what I'm saying? Brothers and sisters, or yeah, brothers and sisters, especially when it comes to business, if you know what I mean. But here we go. So this mixture took place around 3,000 to 6,000 years ago. Somewhere in between. Somewhere in between. Or I can say yesterday and about 6,000 years ago. So as you can see, the numbers are not the important part. I just put that there, just to try to, try to look cool, give a little more, detail. But the main part you need to focus on is that there are different mixtures of people. Now, as you can see, that many of these people still carry Aboriginal mixture. So you cannot deny that. And this is where a lot of people get weird at and they want to get racist at because they're caught in the matrix. And they caught in the matrix and all these political ass constructs, and they not understanding that George Lopez, have a mixture, and he's he could walk into an Aboriginal court. You know what I'm saying? He can claim himself as Aboriginal as well, uh, due to his mixture. And if you do his genealogy, chances are there's going to be, some mixing, some matching, and some Aboriginals in there. But that get kind of sloppy and that gets very personal. So no man speaks for all men. One man speaks for one man. Now, now, so when you goes back to the Aboriginal, we represent the A. We will be the closest to the A. Now, we might not be the 100% A that we would want to be and that many of us claim, but we still fall under the A because our mixture is not a is not as many. I should get. I don't know. I don't know the word I'm looking for, but it's not a hardcore like a whole race of people. We're not like a whole new race. Now, if Naya was alive, now I'm pretty sure she would probably be a little bit different than us, just a little tiny bit different than us, maybe, and that's a maybe. Or chances are you let her as loose in New York, and she gone. You know what I'm saying? She blend right in. Give her a motherfucking unk and a dashiki. Boom. She right up in there with the rest of them motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Um, and so this is what people need to understand is that, like I say, you're dealing with magicians. Okay? Now I know you might use the word scientists and the word anthropologists and all these different accolades and all these different shit. All that falls under umbrella of magic. Now, the best way to cut magic off is through the tools that they use. If you're trying to fight a magician with philosophy and with reasoning and logic, you're always going to be fighting, and you're never going to be able to corner a magician in until you check out the magician's tools. Now, it's just so happened, your boy the cyborg, it's just so happened that I sort of specialize in some of the tools that they use. So it's going to be hard for them to try to combat or to play magic with me. But as long as you're going out there and you're philosophizing and you're 1978 and your genetic mutation, as long as you're playing in the magic field like Harry Potter, I'm not going to say you're going to lose, but I'm going to tell you you're going to be fighting. So if you want to cut the crap and get straight to the gusto, go after the tools that they use. Every magician uses a tool. When you pull a rabbit out of the hat, just grab the goddamn hat. The fuck is in this hat? Okay? How the fuck you do that? Give me that hat. When you got the lady in the box and you cut her in half, give me that goddamn saw. Is it real? Give me that box and open it up. What's up in there? There's 2 people in here. But instead, most of y'all motherfuckers is sitting on the couch trying to figure it out. Oh man, how they do that? No man, I bet you they used a remote control leg and they did this. Man, shut the fuck up. Just go to the magic store, check out one of those boxes, go online, check out a magic trick box, holler at your boy Ty Data, see what's going on with the box. How did the box is made in China? Oh, the box is made in China. Oh, that plays in my favor, don't it? So now the magic box is made in China. So now we can just go to the fucking place where they make the boxes, and I can give you the schematics on how they make the box, and I can say, here, this is how they did the magic trick. Unless y'all niggas want to sit around and philosophize, y'all niggas want to sit around and talk and talk to and literally try to convince these people, some magicians, that their magic trick is not magic. You go right ahead. This has been brought to you by TribeUp.app. Shout out to your boy Be Busy. Go ahead and go through that. TribeUp.app. This is where you can find us at. Yeah. The app that pays. This is Aboriginals at work. Cause this is how you make me. From the to pay me. Tribe Up where they pay me. We be free. If y'all wanna be free, man, I kill it. But anyway, this is brought to you by TribeUp.app, the app that pays. Make sure you go in the description box and utilize everything we got to offer. We out here. We're about to take off. You feel it. You know it. Make sure you support all juggernauts out there. We're out here. They've been out here. And we're going to keep hitting. Shout out. Who we got? Yeah, man, we got a whole chat room. I'm going to keep that quiet because we got a whole chat room today. But make sure you go to TribeUp.app. Down there, that affiliate link, and get a man paid every time you click that link and sign up. You give me a nickel, or be the richest man on TribeUp. Shout out to your boy Be Busy for dropping this beat, and it's gonna get real. Now you made me, and TribeUp where you paid me. Y'all wanna rock this out? Y'all go ahead and rock this out. 5,000 in the building.